Okay, here's part two. What we want to talk about is the particulars of this gun disarm, the basic one with the man facing you. We covered the fundamental moves where you clear the weapon off your body, turning your body at the same time. Take your other hand, circling it over the weapon to lever it as you crash in and hit the opponent with your head. What we want to do now is explain why we push it certain ways and do certain things, and look at the efficiencies involved, because every microsecond that we gain in these moves where he can't shoot you is a big advantage. Everything we can put together to maximize our chances. When the weapon is pointed at you, we have two options. We can push the weapon outside, so his firing arm, we're going to push his arm outward, or we can push the weapon the other way, where his arm goes across his body with the weapon. Here's the reason we push his arm to the outside. As we do this, either way, we move the same amount, and we're going to get off the muzzle line. But if we push it this way, that allows us to crash directly on the center line, right towards the opponent. Moving the weapon to the outside, we're going to be crashing more obliquely into him, and possibly his arm will get in the way of that crash. The other part of this is that as I push the weapon here and he begins to pull it away trying to regain it, notice the weapon never pointed at my body again. If I push the weapon across the body and he pulls it away, it immediately crosses my body again and I have another chance to be shot. So pushing the weapon so his arm goes out from his body is the safest mechanical method to say. Now, if you look at pushing the weapon to the outside, the other thing is you can take your hand and flex it like he would be trying to shoot you while his hand was out there, and you can feel how mechanically impinged your index finger is to pull the trigger. If your arm is pushed across your body, simply returning your hand to a straight wrist position actually will pull the trigger. So in this case, you have a little more time and a mechanical advantage that the opponent can't pull the trigger quite as easily when they have to reach with a flexed wrist. So pushing it to the outside means it doesn't cross back into the center line between you when he pulls the weapon back, and it also means that he has to work harder to try to get a shot off. And those are double advantages that add up in milliseconds. We've tested this with training ammunition, simunitions, and know where you get the hits and where you don't. And believe me, pushing to the outside and crashing straight up the middle is the only way to do this efficiently. Okay, let's run through one repetition slowly and completely all the way through. The gun's presented at you, you go to the surrender position. Immediately when you have the right distance and ready to go, I'm going to turn my body halfway, I'm going to push the gun halfway. And right there, I'm already off the muzzle line. Look at my fingers here behind his hand. Then I'm going to drive my left hand, in this case, over the top of the muzzle, pushing it in, boom, hitting him in the head, and notice that I have the gun well pointed off me. We've removed the trigger guard on this gun because as I lever the gun around like that, the poor fellow's finger gets broken. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens here.